so on and so on. So I agree definitely with Jock saying that they need to be servants, or we as men need to be servants. A man that can help in leading without needing so much from you. Now that's what I wanted to kind of dive into, Jock. You said without needing so much from you. You meaning women, correct? Like without needing any, so much from a woman, or from women in general. Am I correct with that statement? Is that what you meant? Yes, men don't build, they break down, burn, and it's sad. Well, I think first, I think first we need to separate. And this is a big problem that I think that we have in general today, where we don't understand man versus male versus boy. So you have boys that are immature, and that goes all the way up to the grave. Some men will never reach the maturity to be a man. They will always be boys, and they will act as boys, and they will live as boys for the rest of their lives. They may never reach that maturity, even if they reach the age of maturity and beyond. Then you have males, which are just governed by their instinctual nature, aggression, fornication or procreation, really. There's men that's just by their carnal nature. I'm a man and it must be man. And then you have those that I would consider to be males. And then you have men, which incorporated all those aspects and developed themselves to become the most productive and beneficial of the male and boys, and those are men. So when we speak on men, they don't carry certain characteristics that fall under those things, in my opinion, that lead to that lead to breaking down, burning, and such and such. Those are the males and the boys that do that. And I believe that many women today were raised by most of us, not just women today, just most of us today, especially in our communities, were raised by single mothers who didn't have the ability to teach men how to be men. They only taught them how not to be what they saw the flaws in. So it's like, don't be like this and don't be like that and don't do this, but not much of what you should do. Even today I saw a video that came on my Instagram where the lady, I think you guys might have saw it too, where this lady was talking to her son, and she was attempting to tell him what it was to be a man, and she was giving him affirmations. He was just spitting his affirmations. All these different affirmations that she thought was, and they were very positive. For the most part, they were positive affirmations that you would assume that, a boy would want to hear, or need to hear, or need to learn, so that he's able to develop and just have certain key points. And I don't know if y'all heard this one, so I don't want to go too deep in it, because I was going to look for it, but I can't find it. My phone's acting funny. But the point is that he ended up, there was a lot of comments as always, and everybody was, why, where's his father, which was the big question. And I agreed. I thought that the main problem wasn't that she wasn't trying her hardest and she wasn't doing her best. I thought the main problem was that we as a community believe that it's okay when they don't, when they're on their own. We've gotten to the point where we've accepted the least. At least mama's there. Like, that's good enough. When it's really just not good enough. You get what I'm saying? And it's not mama's fault. And fault and blame has to be taken out of it, and getting back to men. The point that I was trying to make was that I do believe that men's purpose is to build. I do believe, but I don't believe that women should be the fault of whatever that is, or have anything to do with whatever that is. A male's purpose has nothing to do with women at all. A male's purpose is not to protect and to provide. That would be sometimes a requirement in a family, determining on the culture and the scenario that those two people chose to live by. Okay, I agree with you. She said God made men first for a reason. I believe men were placed here, made whatever first. If you, first, I don't necessarily know if men were made first or women were made first, because scientifically, some people have discovered, they would say that the X chromosome is the perfect chromosome, the Y being the degraded chromosome. You know, all of that theory as well. Which brings us to a point where you could say, you know, really that some people believe women came first, and that men were, you know, that women at one point were asexual, and then men at some point came after some degradation or some deterioration of the feminine species. So some people just believe that as well, which is a logical theory as well. And I don't try to debunk any theories, because it's irrelevant to me. It's really just about what moves us forward as a people. And right now there's men and there's women, so it's really just irrelevant. But why I said that is because you said God made men first for a reason. I can't say that that's an accurate assessment, but what I can say is, from what we see now, how we work together as a species, as a people, as humanity, there are physical attributes that allow men to do things better, or more, not better, let me rephrase that, more, they're just more better equipped to do certain things, and females are better equipped to do certain things, which is why they take on certain roles stereotypically. And that's why I don't subscribe to those roles necessarily, but I do subscribe to doing what's best for the majority for the most part. So that means in certain aspects we can go into the details, but for the most part, if it's helpful to the majority, we need to focus on what's better for the majority, not the individuals all the time. And all of this individuality is destroying the care that we have for each other. No one cares about each other when it's all about self-healing and self, you know. So that's where I so getting back to the male, right? What I believe is the fault or the matter here is the fact that men in general don't pass down information as men. Men have to pass down information as men. Women have to pass down information as women. Instead of us passing down or attacking each other from opposite sides, like women need to be like this, or these niggas ain't shit, men need to be like this. You get what I'm saying? So he said, I went with what I learned along with the way, and I was just going with what I know. I grew up fast, but became a woman in jail around women when I was forced to be with myself. Men are not appreciated enough. But I appreciate that, and I'm sad to hear that. I know you went through a lot, girl, but I think everybody learned what they learned from whoever they gave the most to, like whoever gave the most to them. And we try to pick up those traits from the people that we think care about us, whether it's the hood nigga in the corner, he cared about us when my daddy wasn't there, or whether it was my mama who, you know what I'm saying, was the only one there, my daddy didn't give a shit, so fuck that nigga, you know what I'm saying. We tend to, a lot of times, and this is something that a lot of people don't realize about love itself. Love is a selfish desire. It has really nothing to do with anybody else. People tend to make it into some good thing, but love is not good or bad. It is what it is. It's only, it depends on how it's used, determines on what it can become. So love reciprocated, when people share it, and it now becomes a trade. There's something that's given on both parts, that becomes a positive. But when love is one-sided, it actually becomes annoying. It could become dangerous. It could become a lot of things. So what we need to understand, or what we try to understand, or what I've gathered in my little years here, is that people in general, everything is really about agreement. And what we have we've been programmed to think now is that we have to think on our own, and that we have to have our own independent thoughts. And although independent thought is good for creativity, it's not necessarily good for building. We are meant to be here to experience love and build as a whole human race. Absolutely. And this is what has been disturbed, the regions that we come from determined a lot of the separation. So as we began to migrate and switch, because if everybody comes from Africa, because there's some theories that white people come from another genome and all this type of stuff, but I generally just don't go with that. I'm sorry, I just don't. I feel like logically speaking, with just knowledge and common sense, what I've learned in reproduction is usually things of different species can't reproduce after the first cycle of reproduction. So meaning, like, if you get a tiger and you mix it with a lion, you get a liger, but then they can't reproduce. They can't make another liger. Two ligers can't make a liger because they become sterile. So that's what I've known up until now, what I've researched. Now, anybody that knows more, please enlighten me. I'm always open for more knowledge, but from what I've known about interspecies relations, is they usually two different species. A dog can't really mix with a cat, stuff like that. It doesn't they don't reproduce. It just doesn't work. You get what I'm saying? You can't put a pig and make it hump a cow and get a pal, it just don't work. You get what I'm saying? So from that, I've recognized that all of us has to act. If we're able to reproduce amongst one another, then we had to come from somewhat of the same source, in my opinion. So that's just the logic that I base it on. And with that being said, I don't really look at race the same way as other people. I think it's more regional. I believe that race in general is regional, that it's based in the effect or the thought process that we migrated, and as we began to migrate to different places, our skin tone changed according to the climates, our eyes changed according to the climates, the pigmentation changed according to diseases, as well as climate changes, as well as other things that came in nature over time. All things happen, degradation happens over time. And I believe that melanin degradation is what caused the different colors over the different types of people in the world, and then climate and regional shifts and the height and stuff would have to do with the pull the what's it called, gravitational pull on different parts of the planet could cause someone to grow taller and someone to grow shorter. So all of these things, as we moved around the world and the world shifted and changed, affected us as humanity, changing into these different things. And then our lack of acceptance for one another caused us to argue, fight, and war. But people, period, go into shit just not knowing what the fuck they are doing and look to blame anything but their own ignorance. You hit the nail on the head, sis. I honestly believe that the majority of the world is in fear. And we create everything through fear. And I heard a lot of feelings with this, even our understanding of God. Not the creation of the creators, but I definitely feel like most people hide behind that. Now, getting back to what I was talking about men, I definitely feel like you guys are 100% hit the nail on the head, that most people were taught that men's purpose is to be a lot of women today. I feel like they taught men's purpose is for them, like to be a provider and to raise a family and to do all these type of things. I believe in the long term that men's purpose can be about family. They can choose to make that, but I don't believe that any individual's purpose is for the other. I don't believe that women are made specifically and can only have a purpose in men, and I don't believe the vice versa. What I believe is that some things are most helpful in its natural form. And the same as I say about weed. Me smoking this weed, it might feel good and give me certain good medicinal qualities and stuff like that, but in its original form, like a tea, or in its original form, like even if I burned it and inhaled it in a different way rather than like a steam or something like that, like the Indians used to do or something, these things are a lot more healthy and can produce some of the same effects without the negative side effects. And I feel the same thing about us. I feel like the things that we've accumulated over time in culture has caused a lot of negative. The video slows down a little bit at time, and it gives you this deep voice, so it sounds like you're going high, low. It's funny. It's nothing to worry. Nah, that's probably my voice. I'm a weirdo. But nah, thanks for that. And just about